Hello, everyone. Something about putting this onesie on that makes me feel like I can be myself. I just want to just roll with it, all the things. And so I love giving advice. Everybody knows that. And that is why I started this whole thing is to educate, inspire the next generation of hair, my newbies. I'm recovering, you guys, from a surgery last week. Yes, elective. Yes, something got smaller. And yes, I digress. We'll move on. So, this is the Ask Him Anything segment. And as you know, I have a website. The podcast is Trendy with Kim Allison. The website is kimallison.net, where you can go on and ask me anything, a little bit about me. I came into the industry late. I went to beauty school at 27 years old, 7 months pregnant with my second son, and just wanted a change. I worked at ASU for a decade, doing a great job at my position, which I got pretty far for someone without a college degree. But it's not, I didn't see myself sitting behind a desk in suits, stockings and heels. That just wasn't me. I knew it. I was an entrepreneur from the start, ever since I was 9 years old when I started my first business, not knowing what an entrepreneur was. But anyway, I knew by the age of 30 that I wanted to own my own business. And I knew that doing hair was a way I could be successful. So that's what I did. I just turned in there one day to International Academy of Hair Design in Tempe, Arizona on Rule and the 60, and enrolled in Carol Ann, the owner. She believed in me. She saw something in me. I won contests, all the things. So I knew I was on the right career path, right? So I was able to achieve my goal. I started at Tony and Guy at 29 years old and worked my way up to management. I did everything you could do in the time I spent there. I was anywhere from assistant all the way up to being in charge of all of the assistants for all of their Arizona locations. So I'm very proud of my work there. I went to beauty schools to train other people. I taught black hair care to my colleagues in the salon. We had such a great team. We opened the very first Tony and Guy in Scottsdale, Arizona. I mean, down to hanging the photos on the wall, painting the walls, etc. It was so much fun. I owe everything to Jerry Watkins, Sabio, and Mark. They owned the Tony and Guy, but Jerry, he was my haircutting mentor because back in those days we were departmentalized. So we had to choose if you wanted to cut or color. I was stronger at cutting, always loved it, styling. So I chose cutting and styling. And today, here I sit still behind the chair, 29 years this year. I am now solo salon suite owner, and I do everything as of 2020 when my partner of 24 years who did the color retired, but now she's back. So yeah, we've never been each other's competitors. I really don't want to look at us that way. However, you know, it is what it is. So anyway, you guys, I know I have advice up the yang. I have so much advice. I have so much life experience, not only in academia, but in the beauty industry in every way. And I opened my website up for just, you could be anonymous. You can give me your name. You could tell me who you are. It doesn't matter. I'm going to answer your questions. And today I have three people that asked, and I get to answer their questions. So let's get into it. And I like to say, you guys, I named this podcast Trendy with Kim Allison because I always want to stay on trend and give you guys the latest news and everything that's going on in hair. But trends fade, wisdom does not. So everything that you learn along the way, it's a lesson and it was meant to be. All right, Alex. Ooh, Alex. Alex with an I. Okay, this definitely sounds like a young person. How long should I give a salon before I decide it's not for me? All right, Alex, how long should you give a salon before you decide it's not for you? I would say, just like anything, I don't know where this 90-day rule came, but that 90 days is a great barometer. It's a great marker for anyone, for a business, a person, relationship, whatever. It's a great marker to show someone who you are. That salon is going to show you what it represents, who it is in that 90 days. For sure it will. Oh my gosh, you guys. And I got my hair cut, and Lord, it is giving peppermint patty with these glasses on. So even with it off and comb over. But anyway, I digress. Let's move on. So back to how long you should give a salon before you decide it's not for you. I would say that 90 days, again, is a great barometer for someone to show you who they are. And you go in with your list of what your boundaries are, what your expectations are, what you want to get out of the experience. Because starting from when you choose that salon to begin with, that salon is also interviewing. It's not only interviewing you, but you're interviewing the salon because you are the business. And so you've got to know what your own goals are and if they meet your needs, right? So it's more than about folding towels and shampooing hair and following direction and learning and being mentored. You also have to meet your own expectations. So go into it knowing what your boundaries are. If those boundaries are being abused, definitely a red flag. Go in knowing what your expectations are. If your expectation is to learn X, to maybe it's education, maybe it's socialization, getting to know other hairdressers, maybe it's financial, whatever it is, in 60 days, if that's not met, then that last 30 days is when you should be looking for your next salon. All right. So that would be my advice, Alex. All right. Let's put the glasses back on. Who do we have next? We have Riley. I love this. These are young people. I know it. Alex, Riley. Okay. I'm scared to raise my prices because I don't feel, quote, good enough, unquote, yet. Okay. So that's a toughie because feeling good enough, what does that even mean? That relates to just confidence, self-worth, all of that, how you value yourself. You, first of all, Riley, you have to believe in yourself to begin with, right? Because if you don't believe in yourself, you could be the most talented stylist in the world and you're still going to walk timid instead of with confidence. So, do you believe in yourself? Is my first question to you. Because if you do, stand on that. You know, if you know that you've put the work in, you've put the education in, the hours it took to practice and perfect and master that skill set, charge what you put into it. What does it cost to do business working behind the chair? That's value. What did it cost, for all of the products that you use? What is your time worth? What did it cost for you to educate yourself on that actual skill? I am an emotional charger. I am. I mean, I've missed the mark. However, my advice to anyone doing hair today, especially with how expensive the cost of living is, you have to know your numbers. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. We all know that. But if you don't know your numbers, how do you know you're charging enough or not? You have no idea. So start there and go for it, honestly. Because if people are charging what they're charging today, and I'm not even going to say the name, her, whatever, anyone else who is a luxury hairdresser charging luxury pricing, they stood on it. and they're profiting and benefiting from it. But again, you always make sure that the experience matches the price. All right, and the end result. Riley, I hope that helped. All right, and lastly, Ashley. Oh, I have a niece named Ashley. Is it okay to fire a client even if I need the money? Ooh, Ashley. I fired in my career 2 clients and 1 client twice, the same client twice, and then a 3rd client. And actually, no, 3. And let me tell you something, that was money well spent. Not all money is good money. I will tell you, your peace of mind working behind the chair, it takes mental toughness to do our job to begin with. And your peace of mind is priceless, because when you build, that's another thing I would recommend to my young self. When you build, think about that energy you're bringing into your space. We have to make people feel beautiful with what we do with their hair. So that's a big responsibility. It's valuable to people who take pride in grooming, right? Because some people don't do their hair at all. They don't even care. But for those that do, right? So you're responsible for how they feel about themselves when they look in the mirror, that end result, all those compliments they get or don't get. You're responsible for that. So I would say if you have somebody in your chair that you don't align with, and my mantra, anybody that's listening to me knows this. I don't care who's not in my chair. I cater to the ones who are, period. And so if you have somebody in your chair that you cannot please, satisfy, whatever you want to call it, no matter how hard you try, neither one of you are doing each other any favors by staying together. The client, if you're so frustrated that you have to complain every single time you come in, then you don't belong in this chair. If you're the stylist, if you've given that person 110% and they're still not happy, then you've done your job. Then they need to be in somebody else's seat. Again, don't worry about who's not in your chair. If you need to let them go, let them go. Because believe me, that person will be replaced with 5 people who love you and stand by you. And so that money is not worth it to feel the way you feel when people abuse you in your own chair and environment. Alrighty, guys, hope that helped. Again, follow along, send me more questions. I love this. I love answering. I love giving whatever wisdom I can pass down to the next gen and those who are still working behind the chair. Subscribe, like, go over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on podcast, leave me a review. 5 stars would be great. And just keep supporting me, you guys. I want to keep bringing you more and more news, more interviews, just more advice. And you let me know what you think. Leave in the comments. Alrighty, you guys. Until next time, have a good day. Bye.